Your father and mother got together and they had sex and they made you. Were you created by God or by the universe?
The universe. I'm not going to change my mind, Jess. So when you ask me, am I Christian? That's a religion that was given to us. That is a white man's religion that he said, this is our white God, and this is what you believe. So no, Jesse, I am not Christian.
So to worship the universe is crazy. It's almost like me worshiping the camera instead of the person who created the camera.
When you think about people like non-believers that are out there lost, that are out there saying crazy things like that, man, the hope for them is really scary, and you just got to keep praying for them.
These people are mad at the God of the Bible, but the universe killed as many people as they're blaming God for.
The universe is not a person. The universe doesn't tell you you're sinful. The universe doesn't care. The universe lets you do whatever you are big and bad enough to do. But God keeps receipts.
So if I'm hearing you right, so when your father and mother got together and they had sex and they made you, were you created by God or by the universe?
The universe. I'm not going to change my mind, Jesse.
So when you say universe, are you saying the universe is God?
Right. Yes, that's you call it God. I say the universe. I say it's always, everywhere, all the time, sees all things, everything. So what you say, God, because see, for me, in my humble opinion, especially in our community, God got a lot of restrictions. God got a lot of rules. God jealous. God be mad at Jesse. God gonna punish you and send you to hell. I don't want to fool with him. God costs 10% of my money. Well, wait a minute. Why am I paying? What am I? So for me, it got to Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I just say, I want to just love you. And that's it.
Amazing.
But it's something that blows people's mind even still, because again, being Christian, it got us caught up in a Christian way, and it made us think that ownership. Yeah. See, so when you ask me, am I Christian? It's like, I really don't like, but I have to say this, that's a religion that was given to us. That is a white man's religion that he said, this is our white God, and this is what you believe. So no, Jesse, I am not Christian. And I would, for my beautiful people, it's like, y'all find it for yourself. Find it for yourself. And if finding it for yourself means, you know what, I got a husband and my husband got 3 wives and all of us are good with that, then everybody good. You're going to hell and that's wrong and that's bad. Based off of what and who?
All right, what do you think, Monique? Her God is the universe.
Man, it just... I want to know how God could be the universe when he made the universe. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I think, man, people just want a lack of accountability, man. People want to be able to live on their own terms and do whatever they want to do. And especially when you acquire a certain amount of fame and money, I can imagine you have access to things that you once didn't have access to. You don't want rules and parameters put on that. You feel like, man, I work hard to get to this place. I earned this. I should be able to do whatever I want to do. So when God is coming and saying, hey, I need you to live like this, live like that, I don't want to do that no more, because now you feel like you got the money and the control to call the shots. And when she said, God get mad at you, God want to send you to hell, God want to, like, God gave you life and gave you breath. God sent his only son to die so you won't have to suffer the penalty of sin and death. Like, he did a lot of things for you. And it's like, just like kind of what we were talking about earlier, people want all the perks and all the rewards that come along with God without honoring God and obeying God. Yeah. People want you to give them all the perks, the money and all that kind of stuff without putting necessary work in or the effort in on their end to show that they appreciate it. The Bible says it's our reasonable service to commit our bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable. That's the least we can do for what was given to us. And when I hear this stuff, I just hear somebody who has money, who had a certain level of status and a certain level of success, and she wants to live on her own terms. And when somebody says no, that's the word that people cannot handle. That's the word that'll make folks cut you off. That'll be the word that made folks walk away from God. That'll be the word that people hate you and call you ugly names. When you say no, that's the word that to get under people's skin. So when God says, no, you can't do this, bump that. I got access. I got this. That's what money does. Money, all it does is reveal who you are, like at a higher level, because now you have more access to more stuff. If you were a jerk before you had money, you're going to be a bigger jerk when you get it. You know what I'm saying? So when I see here, it's like, it's really sad, you know, because we all going to go across circumstances in our life where we're gonna be looking for God. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know who God is, if you think you God, you be looking for yourself, and you ain't gonna get the job done. And you're gonna need a real God to show up for you. So I just pray before she finds herself in one of those situations that she'll understand who God truly is and don't disrespect him and undermine him and belittle who he is. Like, it's so crazy to me, the very breath that we have in our body, the brains that we come up with this stuff, and we just say this stuff and we do this stuff, and it comes out of our mouths. Like, don't you know he can just, you know what I'm saying, and just shut all that down?
Yeah.
But you'll say, well, y'all want to call him God. We talk about God just so loosely. There was a point in time where you couldn't even say his name but like once or twice in the whole year. But we'll sit here to disrespect God and get a couple laughs about him on a podcast like it ain't nothing. It's just crazy to me. But, you know, people don't have understanding. They say the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing. So those who are believers, we have to understand who we're dealing with. Pray for these people. We don't want to bash them because a brother or sister offended is hard to win. We just pray for them. And we'll share with you guys the area of what she's saying. Hopefully y'all know these things already, but if you don't, the area of what she's saying, is just hope that she comes around because it's just sad. Because people just take life for granted. You don't know what's going to come around the corner, and you don't have God in your life.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, I felt the same way this week with Malcolm Jamal Warner's passing. And I thought about what she said, and I said, you know what? And when I listened to that clip, I was like, people believe that money controls their destiny. They believe money controls their destiny, so they think when they hear tragic things happen, or they don't compute that could be them, that it could have been. You know, every time I think about, you know, getting home safely, I always think about, man, that tractor trailer incident that you heard about on the news, that could have been you. Yeah. And so you think about those things, and then there's people out there that think, oh, okay, my money's going to control my destiny. You know, she could have been any different from Jill Scott's incident, you know, just coming from a performance and you have an accident randomly. And so to me, it's really sad to hear people talk.
Angie Stone.
And, yeah, what did I say?
Jill Scott. I was like, what happened to
Stone.
Jill?
My bad.
Jill is fine and well. Fine.
Yeah, my bad. And so you think about those things and you're like, man, it's so sad to hear about that. But then you hear people take life for granted and they think they control everything. You know, Monique has always had this idea that she deserves more than everybody else. I see that mentality a lot when she talked about the whole Netflix, you know, curbing her, and how Cat Williams came out and was like, but you're not selling out arenas, you know, so they're only paying you your amount of ticket sales. Cat Williams was saying that that's what I make on ticket sales, so they only offer you what your ticket sales were for your last arena show or whatever show. So to me, it's like, yeah, you can sit there and you can say all day long, like, I don't like this, and God won't allow this, and God won't allow that. But man, that judgment day, man, shout out to T-Strike. He sent me something yesterday, probably sent it to you too, about a young lady just, you know, witnessing like her encounter with God, and how even the little things that we take for granted, God looks at to be serious sin, and we can't escape that. Yeah. And some of us who think we will escape it won't, and it's scary to think that. But when you think about people like non-believers that are out there lost, that are out there saying crazy things like that, man, the hope for them is really scary, and you just got to keep praying for them.
Yeah. I had two things. One, the universe has a beginning and an end. So that means somebody created that. Somebody created it. It has a beginning and it will end. So to worship the universe is crazy, because it's like you're basically, it's almost like what it talks about, and I'm reading in Jeremiah, where he talks about like man-made religions. You know what I mean? You're making, like, it's almost like me worshiping the camera instead of the person who created the camera. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes we look at those idol things that we do and worship them because they may, quote unquote, bring freedom, when they actually they don't confront who you supposed to be. If you get what I'm saying. So I feel like sometimes people use the universe because the universe don't say, hey, treat that person right. Hey, live this way. Hey, do this. The universe is just open. So now if I'm a person who have an open marriage, if I'm a person who doing XYZ, the universe ain't gonna confront me in my XYZ because I'm thinking the universe is cool with my XYZ. Yep. If you get what I'm saying.
Yep. Everything is accessible. Everything is open. Everything is free with the universe.
You know what's weird? Is people are mad at the God of the Bible, but the universe killed as many people as they're blaming God for. The universe messed up your marriage. The universe killed them kids in wherever. I mean, like, why you're worshiping the universe? Universe kill people all the time.
Yeah.
What's the
Tsunamis,
difference?
natural
I think it's just
disasters.
that they have an issue with a personal God because they don't believe that if God was loving, that he would, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, that he can really be who he says he is.
Yeah.
The whole reason why we're here is to prove how he can be loving and just and handle all this stuff.
Yeah.
You're witnessing the rollout. He's showing you the story as we speak. They just don't like the story, so they get mad at God and they replace him with something that doesn't require anything from them. It doesn't make sense for the universe to be God. The universe is made of stuff. You're made of that same stuff. It doesn't make sense that that universe could create itself.
Yeah.
It has to be an uncaused cause. There has to be something that's outside of the universe that's not made of stuff to create stuff.
Yeah.
So you're worshiping. There's no difference between you and people who worship trees and the sun. And
Golden cow.
you're just worshiping things that somebody put together and display for you. These are his craft that you're worshiping. Why would you do that? It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think the thing I've seen with people who talk about the universe, they end up transitioning from the universe to them being God.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
they're
Also,
made
that's
of
what's
the
next.
universe.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
same
yeah,
stardust. They
yeah.
believe it's all stardust, and it has some magical powers. And
Yeah.
the same stardust that exploded, that created the universe, is the same power they have in them.
Yeah.
They're worshiping themselves.
What you said was key, though, because it's the personal that is offensive.
Yeah.
It's the universe is not a person. It's not a you're not accountable. The universe doesn't tell you you're sinful.
Yeah.
The universe doesn't say get that right. The universe doesn't say forgive people that you don't like. The universe doesn't say any of that. The
Yeah.
universe is neutral.
Yeah.
What Ecclesiastes, the sun rises on the just and the unjust. The universe doesn't care. The universe lets you do whatever you are big and bad enough to do. But God keeps receipts.
That's fact.
God knows. He is a perfect accountant. He knows exactly what's there, and we will never measure up. But that's why what John said is so important. It's in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God and was God. And then in verse 14, and as the message says, moved into the neighborhood. God is personal. He wants to know you. He wants to help you. He wants to change you. My prayer for Monique is, God, chase her down and introduce yourself to her in a way she can't shake it.
Yeah.
Why? Because that way of thinking allows you to allow sin to run you. And God loves you more than you can ever imagine. And he cares that not be the end for you. It's a white man's religion. That makes me chuckle. Please
That's
understand
low-hanging fruit at this point.
that is colonialism that gave us that. The Western Christianity gave us that. That is not, the Bible was found. Jesus was a Palestinian Jew, meaning he was brown-skinned and in the Middle East. He wasn't African American, and he definitely wasn't white. And then Africa, after the Middle East, it went into Africa first. Europe got it late.
Before it was the Middle East, it was really North Africa.
It was just right over the border from Egypt. It went south into Africa. This faith existed and thrived, and the earliest writers of it outside of the Bible were brown people that were writing about this encounter with God. If you believe, whoever is, I don't know what camera I'm on, if you believe for a second that this faith was a white faith, you have believed inaccurately. That is not the history of the Bible. Whether you believe it or not, that is not the history. I have nothing wrong with, I've been to Asia more than a few times. I have nothing wrong with going to Asian churches and they have imagery of Jesus as an Asian man because they see him through their eyes. I have no problem going into Africa. Been to Africa, and they see Jesus as a black man because they see him through his eyes. In America and in the West, we have a problem because we only see Jesus through the white eyes. So we only see the blonde hair, blue-eyed Jesus, and that is who we have. But do you know that the Pope, has one of the earliest images of Jesus painted, and it's of a brown Jesus. The Pope has it. It literally, you can pull it up online. Google it.
See, that's the issue, man.
Brown.
The-
So this white man's religion nonsense, I'm sorry.
It's been
not
whitewashed, and the issue is two things. I want to say real quick. I know we got to switch, but it's like when I came to Christ, I didn't know about Jesus being in color. All I know is I had the picture of a white Jesus in the living room of my mama's house, and I just knew I needed him. But we now know that it's been whitewashed, right? When I thought Jesus was white, I still accepted him. So what's the issue now? If Jesus is a darker color, do you have an issue accepting him now because he's a darker color? So now we get into a bigger issue. Now we're just dealing with racism. But that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
All right. So, but then the pride in what she was saying was, she said, "I just love you." It's interesting to me how people criticize God's version of love as if they can love somebody more perfectly. Like, how can you love more than God? Like, where you get your foundation? What's your idea? What's your definition of love? Where did you gather that from? Where did you get that from to the point where you can bring God up on charges and tell him that he's acting inaccurately or unjustly or unloving, but you feel like your love is more perfect to the point where you're doing it right?
And how twisted is your love when you're loving something inanimate? I love this microphone more than anything in the world. That's just stupid. But you can't love a person that's trying to love you?
And we tend to love people who love us back. God loves us, and we have moments where our actions don't really indicate that we love God the way we say we do.
Right.
While we were yet sinners, he died. We weren't even thinking about God. Most of us, before we got saved, we were living a life totally contrary to God. He said, "You know what? I see him down there. Let me go and grab him."
Now you're just preaching.
You know what I'm saying? Let me grab them real quick. It's like we don't have a reference for that kind of love. Like, he's shown love that we can't define. Like, so for you to say God got too many rules, I just love.
But because we can't fit God into the box that we make for him, he must not exist. Because God is not trying to limit himself. God is not trying to limit his truth. He is not trying to limit anything so that we can understand him more.
Right.
Yeah.
He did all the limiting he would ever do when Jesus took on a form as a slave, when he became as nothing so that we might become everything.
Yeah.
That's all the limiting God would ever do, making himself fully human. That's all he's going to do. Beyond that, he is who he is,
The love of
and we
that.
need to understand it.
Amen.
The love it took to leave heaven. You know what I'm saying? Like, have any of y'all ever been to heaven? You know what I'm saying? Like, the man left heaven for us, and we still sin. And he's still giving us grace. He's still giving us mercy. But you got a few dollars in your pocket, you feel like you can love somebody better than God? Come on.
So keep this in mind. For people who say they don't believe in God, they sure do hate him.
Yeah.
You notice that?
You got a lot of opinions about somebody.
Keep that in
doesn't
mind.
exist.
Keep that in mind. So shout out to Nicholas Celestine. Shout out to Linwood Riddick, Neitha Smith, Making the Effort. They all did super chats for us. We appreciate that.
All right, and Christina as well.
Christina as well. So
Yes.